Oh yeah, ay. When you need a hand and you don't know why, just know that I'll be there. When the road is long and you feel so tired.
There we go. Right. Well, good morning, YouTube. YouTube people. YouTube. It would be YouTubers. Those are the people who make the videos, I guess. John Reagan, founder, e-Powersport.com. Just coming to you for our 15th Sunday morning coffee chat / rant, however you want to put it. It's been an interesting week, a little stressful, but that's part of having a business. You know, that's just how things go. But I did have some things come up that I wanted to go over, and that's what I'm doing here. I have some notes. First of all, you know, I want to say Happy Father's Day. I'm a father. I have a father. I know a few fathers. And to all you dads out there, good job taking care of your kids. If you're ones that don't, maybe do a better job. But yeah, into the e-bike world of things, I wanted to, and electric world of things really, I wanted to go over something that I read this week that didn't quite make sense to me. I mean, it made some sense to me. But it didn't make a lot of sense. And I think when you look at the patterns that are occurring in our world, when you watch the way things flow, you can see certain points at which a moment or an event happens that is like the trigger event that lets you know, hey, this is like the end of that and moving into something different. And that was actually what I read this week. A brand, as you know, our goal here is to remove superfluous brand overhead. And as I was reading this, I realized that this is a brand that I've loved over the years. I've owned their products before. I was like, wow, I was not expecting to see this company jump into the e-bike market. And I mean, maybe you've had their stuff before. Maybe you love them. I don't know. But it was Blaupunkt. So it made me think, are we being punked? And no, that's not the case. They are actually, sorry, I couldn't resist. But no, they're actually going to be producing, we'll say selling, and they've got a pretty big announcement over it, 2 e-bikes that are, from what they've said, they designed themselves, which I think is interesting because I've actually had a company trying to sell me these exact e-bikes, but I have some apprehension about the design, and I'm going to go into that here in a second. But first of all, I think it's interesting that a company like Blaupunkt, who, when I think of Blaupunkt, I do think of electronics, but I think of more functional, what I call function electronics, like car stereos or house stereo speakers, audio, right? I don't necessarily think of an e-bike. Really just kind of a shoot into a different direction when I think of it. But even more so than that is when I look at what they've done. So if they've designed this, then I have to ask a few questions. Like, first of all, why did you design an e-bike frame made of magnesium alloys? That was actually a big reason I declined even carrying these bikes, is because of the material that the frame is made out of. Now, magnesium is an incredible metal. It's light, it's strong, it can withstand all kinds of temperatures. However, it has this one flaw to it when it comes to commercial use, which is when it does ignite, it is almost impossible to put out. My experience with old Volkswagens taught me this. They used to make engine blocks in old Volkswagens out of magnesium. And after having a few road fires where these blocks could not be put out, where you just have to bury it and hope it doesn't continue to burn, it just burns even underground, because magnesium carries its own oxygen. It doesn't need to be in the air to even burn. So even burying it, you're just trying to do the best to keep it subdued rather than letting it just flame on, because it burns at high temperatures as well, white hot in some cases. I brought this up to somebody that we're working with, and he was a submariner for the Navy, and even he was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Lithium batteries, you know, even with the safeties and stuff, there's still the possibility to catch fire. So then you're putting it into a frame made of something that when it catches fire, you can't really put it out. I mean, it burns underwater, for crying out loud. So it's like, yeah, you're getting my point. So Blaupunkt, back to Blaupunkt, big name in electronics and stuff, but the fact that they're putting basically what could be a potentially hazardous thing on the market really blows my mind. I mean, that was the thing to me when I looked at it. I'm like, magnesium alloy, great, but those blocks weren't made of pure magnesium either. They were made of magnesium alloy. And maybe they figured out some combination or something to keep that from happening. But in my mind, that's just a big risk when there's so many other easily accessible materials to use that also help keep those prices low. The other thing as I looked at these was I just wasn't impressed with the specs and the design overall. And so we opted not to carry them based on, you know, potential fire hazard seemed to pose. And like even more so, it's like basically I was just adding fuel to, you know, the 0.01% instance that could happen. And it's just, I don't want to be part of that. And two, the design just wasn't really there for us. We found that most of our customers, when they started looking at things, wanted something more rugged, more mountain bike-ish, more BMX style, which like the little burro, even though it's a heavier bike, does have that BMX off-roady type, and it handles like it too. I mean, it's just monster. I love it. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, so Blaupunkt entering the industry like that too, when I saw that and I looked at what they were doing, it kind of made me think of, like, this is that nail in the coffin moment, quite honestly, when I look at the e-bike industry and the saturation that occurs, and you realize it might as well be Sharper Image putting their selling it. I mean, I don't know. I grew up in the tech world, so, you know, I love Sharper Image. It's a cool catalog, and there's some neat stuff, but some people say that's where tech goes to die. You know what I mean? And so that's why I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, Blaupunkt. What's next? We got a Gucci? We get Gucci bikes? Chanel? I mean, it's one thing to have, like, a collaboration with a brand or something and doing things like that. Like if Blaupunkt had taken their audio prowess and all their alarm prowess and all this back-end technology prowess that they have and worked with an e-bike manufacturer to actually create a new product, I would have been more impressed, I think. But to see what they did and to see that they're going to try and push this sales aspect to it, honestly, it made me think, you know, that is it. I mean, the e-bike industry at this point I would call saturated. It is saturated. There's really little differentiation. We're actually working really hard to differentiate ourselves and our bikes and the things we're working on with different companies, as you've probably seen for the products we're putting up. But yeah, I mean, just at this point, when it comes to foldables, when it comes to these cruiser bikes and the commuter bikes, it's anybody can put their name on it, sell it to you, tell them they're going to be good on it. And I say that as a dealer, right? We are not a manufacturer. I'm a dealer. I look at all these as potential opportunities to sell you a bike. And when I look at all the brands in the market and I look at the support setup and how they're working, I'm just like, oh, so many brands, so many brands. And to see Blaupunkt just step in like that and say, we're going to hardcore sell these two bikes all across, I was just, yeah, that's kind of the death knell, you might say. I think what we're going to start seeing now is a decline. I've already seen the decline in sales that's been happening. And then there's going to be a conglomeration or, you know, merging and stuff, companies buying eating each other up and becoming larger, or other companies just going out of business. So, and we'll continue to sell bikes. I mean, we have bikes, we buy bikes, we sell bikes. That's what we do. We continue to help you work on them, improve them, get you new parts and stuff. And that's what we'll continue to do here at E-Powersport. So one of the other things I wanted to get into too was the what I call the Amazon effect on customers. And by that I mean like the quick return, quick buy, quick return type attitude that has come with making not just any purchase, but even like these are major purchases. I mean, you're spending anywhere from just under $1,000 to a few $1,000s on these things. It's like buying a car in some cases. So when I think about that, and I think about the mentality behind it and how the consumer has been conditioned over the years, over the last few years especially, you run into these issues where, smaller companies such as myself, or just any company really, can be inundated by that mentality and the cost that comes along with it. So, and not being Amazon, it makes it hard to cover those kinds of costs or to get the kinds of, we'll say, considerations from those other companies to where certain fees or instances or issues aren't as impacting to your business. So it's just an interesting effect. So remember, when you're supporting small business, when you're buying things from them, maybe they're not able to refund you within a day if you want a refund, or maybe they have a restocking fee that you should have thought about, or read about before you went and made your purchase. Not every place is Amazon. Not every place is set up to do that. And in some ways, that's actually better for everybody that we're not. I've seen a lot of returned bikes for sale on there. And the interesting thing to me about that is it not only depreciates the value of the bike, but it also creates a sustainability issue, because now we have copper. We have, obviously, if somebody was to throw these things away, I would take them and recycle them. I mean, they're probably worth at least something, the copper and stuff in them. But then we have lithium battery packs and things like that if they can't be sold, as you all know from all the documentaries, will get destroyed, distributed, demolished, or resold, hopefully. That's what I would hope, and in that case, resold, strip the bikes down for parts and sell them. That's basically what I would do. On those Amazon returns, it makes the most sense. And that's why we don't really like to do returns. That's why I actually have that stuff set up, is because when you do that, it's, I'd rather make sure that you're buying the right bike and the bike you want than have to go through all the hassle of returns, the extra fees and things that are applied there. And it's those fees and those types of situations, the reason that companies have started putting the payment processing fees on the invoices up front. Or, in our case, we charge a 25% restocking fee on the e-Enduros and the e-motorcycles, because we have to put them back on flooring. We have the cost of just even operating that whole thing, versus you ordering it moving through a QC and then out the door. So there's definitely a lot of additional costs that go into working on those things. And, I would ask that you kind of be considerate of that when you're shopping at smaller businesses, is that, they're not all Amazon. We're just trying to make that little bit of money we can to get by. And a lot of times the processing fees can eat up as much as 10% or more of what little we're actually making off the sale of these items. So think about that. Maybe be a little more thoughtful in your buying processes. And even the companies on Amazon, when you do those returns and refunds and stuff, they actually hit them harder, because they just have to eat it. A lot of times there's no, recovery. It's like, oh, somebody returned it, knock it off your calendar there. So even on those, I would say be a little more considerate about your returns, know who you're returning it to, right? And how that return setup is going to affect their business or not, We'll see. Amazon's an interesting beast on its own. So the final thing I wanted to cover today, here I'll probably like, yeah, if there's actually anybody watching this. The final thing I wanted to cover today are our new pricing tiers for electric motorcycles and the e-Enduros. So the reason I want to do that is because as we've grown the business, and looked at the cost and selling them, obviously as they move through each stage of the process, there are more and more costs associated with it as it becomes not just a physical product, but becomes a delivered product or a hands-on product, as it were. And so you see this in the industry. Tesla started it with their pre-order. You buy the car before they even make it, and then you wait for however long, and then you get it. In our case, those waits will be a lot shorter than what we're seeing today. So the way our tiered structures work are, and this is just going to be continual. We're going to set these up on order cadences, and we'll set up a chart and everything to let everybody know where it's at. You can get your orders in. I'll explain that a little more. So when it comes to our tiers, we are going to have pre-order. Actually, we already have it. Pre-order, reservation, and on hand or on site. And so the way it works is if you pre-order something, it hasn't been produced, it's ready to go in production, it's something we've already made once or twice. And so we're going to go ahead and take the orders, and then we're going to put it into that production mode. So at that point, it's at the least point of cost for everybody involved. And so by placing your order at the pre-order point, you're going to get the best cost across the board. So once that's established, once we've got the order placed and everything goes into production, we'll move into the reservation status. So reservation means that we are producing these units. We've already got investment in them, and we're already starting to build up cost. So because of this, there's going to be an added cost on the reservation units. Now, those reservation units, like I said, they're in production. And so reservation units will take anywhere from 90 days or less or so, depending on shipping, to get here. So we'll have a 60 to 90 day window, we'll say, from the start of production till the time they arrive, that you can reserve a unit. Those reserved units will incur a 10% increase over the pre-order price. Okay? I hate to do it, but that's how it's going to have to be, unfortunately. I've tried to really structure all of this and the process so that you have the opportunity to get the best possible price. And as it comes through, as it's more available, the costs go up, like I said. So reservation, 10% increase. So as it gets here and we take it in, we validate it, we verify the QC, we check it out, everything's good, place it on the floor, boom, it incurs new costs. Right? If you haven't reserved it, it's not going out our door right away. It's going to sit. I got to wait for people to show up. I got to wait for you to drive it. I got to wait for you to come and say yes. I got to pay more to process payments and things like that on site. It just tacks up. Time goes on, interest bears, tax up. So on site, on hand purchases will have a 25% markup. So as you can see, as we go through this tiered process, starting at pre-order is your best point, right? You're going to wait the longest, but you're going to get the best price, a considerable amount of savings, and you're going to be one of the early adopters or buyers to be able to say, yeah, I got these. Yeah, they were great. It came in. I just had to wait a little bit, and it's taken care of. If you're somebody that wants a little more security around it and you're thinking, I want to wait till I know it's in production, or I want to wait till I know it's on the boat, then you're going to want to do the reservation. And the reservation, we're already putting money out, we're already paying our interests, we're already all of our holdings and stuff like that. So that does have that 10% fee. And then if you're somebody that has to come, ride it, drive it, make sure you like it, don't want to have to return it for some reason. Like I said, we try to work those things out as best we can. We try to be as upfront with everybody as possible, as transparent about all this stuff as possible, so you feel comfortable when you buy it that it's going to be what you expect it to be. So we don't expect a lot of returns that way. And so that's why I'm always surprised when people return something like these last few, but they didn't even get their bikes. So I didn't want to have to do that, but as we've looked at the costs and how you bear costs throughout the stages in the process, it came to light that doing this allows us to not have to say it's just this 25% markup from what we have it listed at, and that's just the price from now on. So in order to give you all the opportunity to have these best possible prices, we're stacking up the tiers this way, okay? Pre-order, you get the best price, the price that's listed on the website. Reservation, you have about 90 days to wait, say 60 days or so to wait, 60, 75, and even less now because shipping's coming down. And you're gonna pay 10% markup. As far as if it's on site, you'll know because we'll have a tag on it that tells you what price it's gonna cost. And it will be about 25% more than the pre-order pricing. Again, unfortunately, I didn't want to have to do that, but that's the way the numbers work out. So hopefully you guys understand that and you'll get your pre-orders in so that way we can give you the better pricing and not have to charge that extra bit to cover those costs. So again, we do have some bikes available right now. I have the Watt Wagons Hydra available. And just for Father's Day, the end of June, we're doing that one for $50 under invoice. That's $6,500 for the Watt Wagons Hydra. It's a beautiful bike. We have the Class 1 pedal assist only contacts, a 750 watt Bafang. We're doing this one right now for $1,900 for Father's Day. And yeah, and just getting those out there and, you know, everybody ride safe and take it easy.
Know that I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there.